go write our votes in a fart and then put them in a bottle, throw them out to sea, and then whatever washes up, that's who wins.
So then we have the right to call for division, which means count the votes. And they wouldn't do it. Our own chairs wouldn't do it for us because they're higher up in the party. So it's just like no business actually took place. It was a big TV commercial. It's all timed. They don't want you to call for division. They don't want you to actually have a political process, a democratic process, because it messes up their script. They've had dress rehearsals. They want to time it for the TV commercial to come on. It's not a democratic process. It's a dog and pony show. That's all it is.
Beforehand, so is the party unified completely? Not necessarily, but again, the Clinton campaign feels as though last night helped them to take a big stride forward. Steph. All right, thanks, Kristen.
How was your experience in there? I got 2 delegates here. Was it terrible for you, or how was it for you in there?
Sad and tragic.
I felt like we were watching a relative die, and that it was. I know that the people who have campaigned for Hillary are thrilled and elated, and
I believe Hillary Clinton's weak stance on climate change is a disaster for the future of human beings on the face of this planet.
So true.
In addition to the crime stated, we the people of the United States also find Hillary Clinton guilty for the theft of democracy for the 126,000 people in Brooklyn alone who were robbed of their right to vote due to the bribery that happened when a certain member of the Board of Elections was given $6 million by the family of a Clinton superdelegate. We also find the defendant guilty of high treason and gross negligence in the matter of exposing our national secrets for her own convenience. WikiLeaks! 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 We're the 6 million votes in California. Where the are those votes? You know where they're sitting? They're sitting in offices. I didn't want to yell, but I'm sorry, this is the only way. I mean, California had an open primary. We were suppressed. This was rigged. You want to know when I knew this was rigged? It was one of the first states, I believe it was Idaho, and Bernie and Hillary were tied, and they decided that they were gonna flip 6 coins
people. She's not a president for the people. She just wants to become the first female president. And I, as a female, will not support someone because of my gender. I will support someone who actually is for the people, who is fighting with us, not against us. If she really wanted to care about us, she would have gone against fracking. But no, she needs their money. I don't know why. She's got plenty of it. I mean, anyways, where's Arizona? Why aren't they having a recount? Everything there was rigged. This whole thing is pretty up, and we're tired of it. That's why we're here. We all did our research. And you know what? They keep saying millennials are showing up at the DNC. You know, last time I looked around, at least half of these people were baby boomers. I was camping at Parvin State Park, and at least, like, about half the people that were there were baby boomers. So don't tell me this is a millennial thing. We have people of all ages. I've met someone the age of my grandmother. All right, here you go.
That's what Hillary said. I am so sick and tired of Bernie Sanders supporters and their lies, and then not doing their research. Anyone remember when she said this? I'm pretty sure we do our goddamn research. That's why we're out here. Next time anyone tells you it's either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, tell them to go. Yes, we do our goddamn research. Bill LeBurn, go to your bus. Thank you. Go to your bus, baby.
Mic check!
Ladies and gentlemen, do I have your attention? Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard that Hillary Rodham Clinton is taking the stage to make her speech. We are here to conduct a people's trial on Hillary Rodham Clinton. We will use expert witnesses amongst us in the crowd and bring charges against her. Everyone in this crowd is a member of the jury, and everyone in this crowd is an expert witness. Our first and primary charges are thus: Hillary Clinton is an accessory to the election fraud and the game rigging that the DNC used against Bernie Sanders. Hillary, your time has come to pay for all the crimes you've done. Pay for all the crimes you've done. No, this isn't a civil protest.
No, this isn't a civil protest.
We are here to put you under arrest.
We are here to put you under arrest.
Ain't no person too big to jail.
Ain't no person too big to jail.
We the people will not fail.
We the people will not fail.
Being an accessory to election fraud. And the question is she guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
For gambling on future candidate. Is she guilty or not guilty? Guilty or not guilty? Guilty or not guilty? Is there anyone from the crowd who wishes to bring further charges against Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton has been found guilty. We are going to serve her a citizen's arrest. There are police officers behind us. We invite all of you police officers to join us in helping to serve this citizen's arrest.
Save this country! Save this country! Save us! You guys have power!
We are going to serve Hillary Clinton with a citizen's arrest. If you choose not to help us to do this, that is your prerogative. We will attempt to access the Wells Fargo center. If you choose to arrest us, that is your decision. We will not resist, we will not be violent, but we will take action to make sure our voices are heard.
Disenchantment 2.0. Disenchantment 2.0.
Hillary Clinton, you are under arrest.
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 Hillary Clinton, you are under arrest! Hillary Clinton, you are under arrest!
Hillary Clinton, you are under arrest.
Hillary Clinton, you are under arrest!
Hillary Clinton with a citizen's arrest.
Watch your crowd, folks.
And we will not stop, and we will not disperse. Either arrest us or help us arrest her.
It's okay.
Arrest us or arrest her. 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 Arrest.
Keep the space, keep the peace. It's pretty chill. Obviously, it's not a thing in it's not in play. It's not in action. Everything's very calm. Thank you.
You don't look pissed or cheerful and like some of the Democrats would be happy on their side. What's happening?
Well, I am very pissed. Don't be surprised. I'm just happy to see everyone out here being pissed with me. I'm from a group where we stand in solidarity. That's what the fist is for, among all the issues. You can see our signs out there. We're really trying to take control tonight and say that Hillary is under citizen's arrest, you know, for everything she's done, and our group just really wants to emphasize that we're not the only ones. Everyone, the environmentalists want it, the people who think that ballots weren't counted, that's what they want. The people who want Bernie, that's what they want. Just all the different issues, that's what we're standing behind, and we're going in full force tonight.
Florida, California, Washington State, people that were here almost on their last dimes, ready to go and work for their delegations as hard as they possibly could to make sure that everyone was getting the communication they needed and the support that they needed. And our volunteer coordinators were working very hard to get our credentials, and they were not able to get those credentials. On Tuesday, we were told, you know, there's very little hope we're going to be able to get credentials because of what they experienced so much frustration with the DNC that they said, you know, go out and protest, try to do the best you can from the outside to help. We felt very helpless. Our delegations needed our support and they didn't have it. And there were hundreds of Hillary volunteers filling the entire space, handing out Hillary signs and making sure that people were behaving. We were told not to wave any Bernie gear or paraphernalia during the wrong times. And we have seen things like members of our delegations holding like this sign, for Palestinian human rights. They were told they had these signs ripped out of their hands and ripped apart so that they could not be used because they did not want that shown on camera. So they are not being fair to the volunteers. They're not being fair to the Bernie's delegates, and they're showing contempt. I think they're showing contempt to the American people.
how do you feel about the Democratic Party now? Are you part of the Dem Exit?
I am not part of Dem Exit. I'm one of the rare few. I am for Dem Enter. I believe we need to infiltrate and take over our party. We need to take our party back. I think that's the most immediate plan that we can follow. We're doing it in my local area. There are a lot of neoliberals in charge in a very rich and supposedly liberal area. We are taking over our party and moving it to the left. I support efforts to start a progressive party for the 99%. I'm going to be putting my efforts into both places, but I think it's important when people are bullying people that you don't walk away. You stay and you fight. So.
I grabbed back, and now we had a struggle going, and I realized, uh-oh, you know, I'm probably going to get accused of assaulting a police officer here. So I let go of it, and he got hold of the tag. It was the actual credential. He ripped it off and said, you have no credential. So I said, well, on what authority do you, a police officer, de-credential an elected delegate to a political convention? No answer. In the meantime, my compadre, Mr. John Knight, who's also an elected delegate, a very good man, was behind me, and he was in the doorway. He was in the doorway behind me, and he just did what was a good thing to do. I wish we had all just sat down inside, but he got into the doorway, and he just very passively, quietly, peacefully just stopped walking. He didn't say a word. He didn't say anything nasty to the police. He's a very gentle man, very level-headed guy. More level-headed than I am at age 58. I'm too pissed off. Anyway, so the police start manhandling him. And so the crowd's like going, hey, knock it off. Knock it off. And I keep telling this officer, this is John Knight. He's an elected delegate. He's a very peaceful man. He won't fight you. Stop assaulting him. And after about 4 times, they let him go, and he walked out. But this is it. I want you to know it was the perfect merger of the police state and the corporate state. That is known in a political dictionary as fascism, and that's exactly what happened tonight. I was de-credentialed not by my party, not by my candidate, but by the police for exercising my rights.
As an elected official.
As an elected person, yes. We, as an at-large delegate, I theoretically represent 80,000 people.
And say the thing about how you felt during her speech, militaristic and jingoistic. Say that again.
I felt like it was the German Reichstag 1936. It was jingoism. It wasn't patriotism. It was jingoism.
We chanted no more war, and you know how they responded to that?
Thank you.
They chanted USA.
Oh
USA.
my God.
Every time.
Hi.
You're funny.
Which is what I've been saying. When they were arguing, like, what are you fighting for?
DNC go.
I feel that way myself. Tell me, how are you feeling about the election so far?
Well, I feel really unified with all these people who are equally as enraged as I am about what has taken place over the last year and a half or so. The way that Bernie has been treated, the way the delegates have been treated, the way that Bernie surrogates have been treated, all of his supporters, and the way that this has just been blatantly stolen from us, and nobody in the mainstream media is covering it. They refuse to even mention it. And everyone here is here in a united front. These are all good people, and we just want justice. We just want our voices heard. And just, I am enraged over the disenfranchisement that has taken place and how we are screaming to preserve our democracy. It is just, I feel like I'm living in an Orwellian nightmare right now. And I was like, sometimes I think it's a nightmare. I feel like I'm not sleeping and that someone needs to punch me in the face and wake me up, because it's been a surreal experience, and trying to explain to people who are not supporters, they look at you like you have 6 heads, and I just feel very fortunate that I'm around people who understand and who are all here in solidarity.
We did. We walked out early during Hillary's speech, but they also wouldn't let us exit.
They wouldn't let you exit.
They wouldn't let us. They let us out of the Wells Fargo Center, but because we were on foot, they won't let us exit where cars exit. We thought we could get out by the subway station. They said no. They made us walk all the way to the Holiday Inn to get out, and the reason is they don't want us to exit where you guys are to give you inspiration for the movement. Right? They're just trying to keep everybody separate.
Yeah, they've been telling us for the last 3 days. They've been saying, "Oh, this is happening over here, and that you guys are over here."
It's all
now.
misinformation.
You guys are over there, yeah. And so they've been spreading us out.
They've also said that they were protecting you guys from us.
Yes, because we were going to hurt you guys.
They
Oh,
actually-
God forbid I get a hug.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right here, I'll give you another one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
100 to 200 of us inside, but hundreds more were streaming out. And so to prevent more of us from gathering inside the media tent, they actually locked the doors and police surrounded everybody who was sitting very peacefully and quietly, and we couldn't leave. So then we had to have a representative negotiate with the police to allow us to leave. And they did that so that we couldn't actually fill the media tent. So many of us were protesting outside. And then we were in there for about an hour, maybe a little more than an hour, until they let us out. And then some of us stood on the steps of the media tent for another hour.
And how were you treated by the Clinton people during this time? Like the individual Clinton supporters?
Well, in the Oregon delegation, Oregonians are really nice. So for the most part, the Bernie and Clinton caucuses got along fine. There were a couple people that were obstinate and rude, and there were some shouting matches.
I heard from someone like carrying an anti-TPP sign, gets them
They get angry, they think we're being disrespectful, but even Clinton said she was against the TPP, like, hello you guys.
What she says and what she means are always two different.
A lot of us after this week have a lot less hope in this party than we had before, right? And I just want to say how much we appreciate it. We were inside the whole time, and we're going through emotional abuse, physical abuse for a whole week. I just want to say how grateful we are that we had our people outside. That we had our people outside fighting out here as hard as we were fighting inside. But you can tell by the demographics of our voting that these people are dying out, right? We're gonna have 15% of the electorate, 50% of the electorate in 10 years, okay? This is our country now. The protesters you see in the streets, the protesters that you see inside, the actions that you see inside, this is taking over our country now, okay? And I want to tell you from Portland, Oregon to Philadelphia, I'll give off the megaphone, but from Portland, Oregon to Philadelphia, we are so grateful that our people were out here fighting as harder than we were fighting outside. And we're going to stand together with you guys in solidarity throughout this revolution. Thank you guys.
California delegates, delegates are the largest of our delegate collection and the loudest. So the DNC wants to downplay them the best they can. What they did today, many of you saw rumors that there were Craigslist ads looking for actors to fill seats to act as Hillary supporters, as these super political people. They were actors, got $50 a pop. Not bad for a good day's work, but what the DNC did was 2 hours before the California delegates were told to arrive at the convention center, the seat fillers came in and took their seats. And as we all know, or might not know, once somebody is in your seat, you cannot take it. Even if you go there and leave for the bathroom, if a seat filler takes it, you cannot re-enter the convention hall. So they essentially blocked all of the California delegates from entering the convention hall. Our friend, Eden McFadden, was live streaming the entire thing, explaining this to all. And I hit up social media right away. So I tweeted out, urgent, hashtag Dems in Philly, using seat fillers to block our California delegates from entering the convention, with a link to the live stream, and share. This got caught in C-SPAN's automatic retweeting, except they also overlaid it over their coverage, their global coverage of the Dem convention, and
here we go.
retweeted my calling out of basically fascism. It's the government controlling what the public sees. It's propaganda and just misconstruing the truth. And I'm very proud of this tweet. It was a small win for what was an otherwise demeaning day and demoralizing day.
I award you the golden tweet of the convention.
I humbly accept.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, he's from Seattle.
Very Quakers.
I have to say, I'm here to tell you that I love Bernie Sanders. I love Bernie Sanders. He is my hero. Yeah, I worship and I listen to everything he says and does, and every move he makes, and every inflection and tone and expression that he doesn't make. I want everybody here to know this man is your hero. Do not mourn him. He is alive and well and telling us what to do. It's whatever you hear him tell you to do. If you want to be on this side, it's Bernie Sanders that led us here. If you can stomach it on the inside, get in there. Because I couldn't. I tried and I got to vote for Bernie Sanders for President of the United States today. That is amazing. We did this. We did this. We got to vote for Bernie Sanders for President of the United States. The Jewish socialist from Vermont. The crazy-haired guy, as all my family would call him, that crazy guy from Vermont, my hero, Bernie Sanders. Let's give him all the love right now. We need to give him the love because he is in there fighting for us still. I promise. I promise you. Bernie Sanders lives in us. He is my hero. I love him. I will not mourn him. I am here with you. We need to give those people support and him. That's amazing. If you got the stomach for this, go for it. And here, thank you. Give Bernie your love and stay the course. Whatever he tells you to do, do it. However it feels to you. Thank you.
Welcome to Bernie Blackout News, straight from Philly. I'm here with a member of the brand new Congress Project who's likely to be voted to his state rep in next term. So hi, can you introduce yourself to our friends?
My name's Ian Sorensen. I'm a delegate from Congressional District 6 in Illinois, which is McHenry County and a little bit of Kane County in northwestern suburbs of Chicago.
So Josh Fox today noted that there was like a cultural difference between Bernie delegates and some of the other delegates who are a little more corporatized. Did you notice that in there?
You know what I'll tell you about my, I had never met a Hillary Clinton supporter until I got to the DNC. And when I walked in there, it was very apparent who the Hillary Clinton supporters were because they were all women over the age of 50 who very closely resembled Hillary Clinton, or elderly African American women who are still under the misguided understanding that Bill Clinton was beneficial to the colored people's plight in life. There are also a small spattering of what I assume are like sorority girls, those fake feminists who pretend that they're feminists, but really what they are is, you know, anti-misogynist, so misandrinist.
Got you. Sort of feminism out of context with the struggles that are going on. And we value, I consider myself a good feminist.
I like to consider myself a feminist too. I believe in equality for everybody, you know? Men, women, homosexuals, gays, lesbians, transgender,
transgender,
you know, people
everybody
of color. Anybody who is a person deserves to have the same rights.
Two white guys throwing down rights for the rest. you, Mr. Trump. We're taking rights out.
That's right. That's right. Rights for all the rights for everybody.
Yeah, not just for billionaires. Rights. They're not just for billionaires anymore.
That's
They're
right.
for everybody.
That's right.
Brandnewcongress.org has this very funny idea that people with hair, like everyday citizens, should be involved. And I think that's great.
I think that we need to clean house across the board, because even if there has been a good senator or a good House representative, the fact that they allow corruption to continue to move on in their respective section of Congress is an indicator that they're not really as good as we would like to think that they are. You know, the fact that for my entire life, we haven't had a politician until Bernie Sanders who wasn't owned, bought and paid for by some multinational conglomerate or another. Big pharma, big oil, big, insurance, you name it. They've all bought somebody. And I think it's time for regular Joes like me and you to get back in there and make this a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
That's right. So if you think this is a good idea, you should go to brandnewcongress.org and get involved. So send a donation to brandnewcongress.org on behalf of this dude, and let's support each other as we make a new world.
That's right.
So many things I heard about, like how we respond to the trauma of this situation, and it's important to recognize that this is a terrible thing we've been through. We've been cheated and lied from, completely swindled, and so I just want to thank you for putting up with the DNC all these years. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, man. I'll tell you this election was stolen from the beginning, okay? We didn't have a chance to win. The fact that even with the deck stacked against us from the beginning, we still hit 47% of the vote at the roll call, okay?
Yeah.
Those are great numbers, considering that they called us a fringe candidacy from the beginning, okay?
Yes.
This doesn't end today. The revolution continues. Bernie Sanders not being the president is not the end of this, okay?
Yeah.
We got to get involved in state and local. Go take over your school board, take over your city board, take over your county board, take over your state house, your state senate, and let's fill this up with some real state, replace your governors too. That's the most important thing, because there's way too many Republican governors out there.
Too many just abstracted, cookie cutter, square white dudes in suits and ties, strangling themselves day after day.
And you don't have to be as hip as us to get involved. You just have to have the right idea.
His hair is much better than yours ever has to be. And don't worry. But if you do have good hair, you're still allowed to run for Congress.
That's
like
right.
my friend here.
That's
Ian.
right.
Brand new Congress. Don't give up.
Brandnewcongress.org.
We're going
Don't
to
give
save
up.
the planet yet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vermont casts our votes. 22 votes for our beloved Senator Sanders. It is now my honor to present the next president, Bernie Sanders.
Madam Chair, I move that the convention suspend the procedural rules. I move that all votes cast by delegates be reflected in the official record, and I move that Hillary Clinton be selected as the nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
respected for years. He's done some of the most incredible work on election fraud and voter suppression. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He also discovered how George Bush stole the election in 2000. All right? So this is a man whose resume I could read for the next half hour. This is Greg Ballast.
How come you guys aren't singing happy along with the delegates?
Now, why aren't you singing happy? And I have with me an incredible man. He's incredible, multiple progressive talk shows. This is Tim Black.
Hey! What up, people? Where's Sarah Silverman at? I'm looking for her. I thought she was a Bernie supporter. What happened?
All right. 2 million votes left to be counted, but they said Hillary Clinton won by 400,000 votes. So how does that happen? I'm on the hunt to tell you how they're going to steal the election. In November, it's a crime, it's a heist that is going on. We're in the middle of the crime right now.
Palace taught me was that provisional ballots are placebo ballots. They're fake ballots. They basically should say on them, nice try, go home. All right? Because they are not counted, and when they're counted, as in California, it's too late. All right? They're counting them now in California. It doesn't matter now. So if they give you a provisional ballot when you go to vote, tell them, thank you, I understand, but how about you yourself? All right? Yeah. Tell them that. Yeah. You need to stand there and demand you get your right to vote, because provisional ballots, we might as well write our votes in a fart and then put them in a bottle, throw them out to sea, and then whatever washes up, that's who wins. They're absolutely meaningless, all right? And then, you know, there's something else that we got into on Redacted tonight, is the fact that the exit polls in a lot of these states did not match up with the voter results, all right? The voting machine results. And then, when you point that out, we created a hashtag on Redacted tonight, hashtag ExitPollGate. And when you point that out and it starts getting some traction, then everybody in the mainstream media, they ignore it for a long time. Then when they can't ignore it anymore, they go, exit polls don't matter. They don't matter at all. That's funny, because when exit polls are way off in other countries, we accuse them of election fraud. Okay? So it's bull. Exit polls don't matter. And then they canceled the exit polls before California, because it was getting too much traction. People were talking about it. People realized that those exit polls were not matching up to the results. So demand that we have an accountable system, an accountable voting machines, where it's not just a black box, a mystery box that you can never see inside. You just need to have faith in. It's a magic box. All right, we need to have voting machines. We can see the code, open source. We can see what's going on, and that's if we won't go back to paper ballots. But at the very least, we need to see the goddamn code. We need to know what's going on in those machines. All right. But like I was saying, very few outlets, even progressive outlets, were willing to talk about this stuff, to talk about election fraud. You know, they don't want to hurt Hillary's chances, so they're not willing to talk about it. But one man who was willing to talk about it, I'd like for him to talk for a little minute right now, is Tim Black.
Look, guys, when we looked at what happened in Arizona, when we saw how they suppressed the vote at the polls, how they made people stand out in the sun for 4 or 5 hours, some longer, we knew this was a dirty trick. We all knew. We didn't need anyone to come give us the information. You can see it, you heard about it. They did the same thing in Puerto Rico. Same thing. All of a sudden, numbers of polling stations closed. Machines don't work. Now, let me ask you a question and, respond with a yeah. Do you think it's possible that they could have tested those machines before Election Day?
Hell yeah!
It is an event. It doesn't happen every day. It's something you kind of gear up for. Our mics work. Our election booths can't work. So these things we all talked about, we discussed it, and you said, you know what, it's time that we pull the plug on this whole thing. It's time that we expose them all. When people ask me, they say, Tim, why do you think that Hillary, right,
is worse than Donald Trump. And I say, just look at the election results. I don't think Trump can do this. I don't think Trump can rig an election. Well, come on, guys, talk to me now. Do you think Trump has that power? Come on, man. Trump might be able to make up a catchphrase that humiliates someone. If you didn't like the Washington Times, you might call it the Washington Crimes. You didn't like the New York Post or something, but he can't get media. He can't get people not to talk about stuff. So that's why I think that Hillary, the DNC, right now, they're exposing themselves, and that's why I'm going green, and that's what I'm telling everybody. It's the only option, man. Anyone at this point who believes that this is all an accident, that what Greg's talking about, what Tim's talking about, well, what Lee's talking about, what I'm talking about. If they think what we're talking about is all fantasy, conspiracy theory, this is what I learned in the last year. There's no such thing as a conspiracy theory. There are things, there are theories, there are ideas, there are schemes that are yet to be proved to mainstream media. See, mainstream media decides what's real, what's not real. But see, here's the thing. I don't let anything go as a conspiracy theory anymore, because who would have believed that they would steal this election in this way before they stole this election blatantly in this way? That's what I'm saying. So when people come up and they say, Tim, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I listen, because they have exposed that they've been doing this for a while. This didn't just start with Bernie Sanders in this election, ladies and gentlemen. This started way before it. And one of my biggest hopes, guys, is that when these folks, when you folks, all you good folks, now that you know that there are a lot of suppression going on, now that you know that the media is only printing certain stories and spinning it certain ways, you will apply this to new stories. The next time you hear a story, think about it yourself and say, I wonder if there may be a different scenario to this, because this is not new. This is not just about Bernie Sanders. This is about what they've been doing all along. And what they've been doing all along is telling you what they want you to know, telling you what they want you to think. Such as the pick up the chair thing, picking up the chair. Remember that? Come on, guys. There was no, come on. They sold that story to everyone who's not here believed that. They believed it. They ran with it, and we had footage. So I'm going to be quiet, but I'm going to say this. It's up to all of you to keep your eyes open. Once you are awake, you cannot go back to sleep. Right? Right? That's it. That's all I want. People say, what do you want from this? You can't unknow what you know. Right? When you find that number, that she has that number, hey, where we get this number from? Who's this guy you've been seeing? You might not want to tell her, but hey, now you know. Right?
He's absolutely right. You gotta question your media. You gotta question even the media you trust. Look it up. Follow. Figure out whether the people you trust are telling you the truth. And keep looking it up and keep learning. Keep educating yourself. Because our mainstream media is a pile. All right, it's a pile. It's like a pointillism painting, you know. When you're up close, you don't see it, and then you back up and you go, oh, it's a pile. I see it now! And you can't unknow this stuff. This stuff we're giving you, it's like a brain parasite we just gave you that causes Tourette's. So now every time you watch the mainstream media, you're going, come on, really? So it's a bad parasite, and we apologize for that. But no, you gotta go to alternative media. You do. You have to learn this stuff for yourself because our mainstream media gets they need the ratings and they need to be nice to the advertisers, all right? And so it's all celebrity and fear stories. Every time you turn it on, be afraid, holy be afraid. But then every commercial, do you have anxiety? We have pills that'll help you for that. All right, but now I want to get into some more of the details of the election fraud. Those of you from California, you know that went down there. And some of you here? And some of you have your vote suppressed? Well, one person that really looked into that and did a great job is Michelle Bowley.
One of the craziest things about living in California is that you
you assume you are in a liberal state, so your vote as a liberal would be safe in an election. You would think that that would be true. And what we found in the state of California was a system that was built to be so broken and disorganized that there is no accountability, that there is nothing that you can do to go and call them out on the number of provisional ballots that were cast. We had 2.5 million ballots that had not been counted as of election night when they called the race for Hillary Clinton in our state. Our Secretary of State came out and endorsed Hillary Clinton from the beginning of the race. And what we saw when we followed our poll workers was the fact that when people were going into the voting booths, they were being given provisional ballots constantly for no reason. These are not people these are people who had their voting records with them. They printed them out. They went through the process. They had changed their registration and somehow it was still their old registration, or they would have their registration switched. It was absolutely pure chaos. And the voters who went to vote had their ballots sent as provisional ballots, put into provisional envelopes if they were no party preference voters. The amount of people who were disenfranchised in our state was incredible. And what's crazy about all of it is the fact that California had a law passed in 2012 that said that we were supposed to have same-day voter registration. The system was reported by the LA Times to have been ready in 2015. And somehow, for this first primary, it wasn't ready. It wasn't ready when all the new voters wanted to come out and vote for Bernie Sanders. Now, the irony of that is, now that the election's over, they are coming out and saying, oh yeah, you're absolutely right, and guess what? We have this great new system for the election in 2016. We have this great new system that's going to get everyone registered to vote for, yeah. And I basically created a new ballot that you needed to be able to vote for the presidential candidate. So if you wrote in and asked for a ballot, you could get a ballot without Bernie's name on it. So people would write in their vote. And you know what our Secretary of State said? He said that that written in name, Bernie Sanders, could not be counted as the intention of the voter. It could not be counted as the intention of the voter if you wrote in Bernie Sanders' name on your ballot. Tell me how we are honoring the will of the voter when you have written in a candidate's name or cast on a ballot. They would get ballots that were, see, if you were registered as a Democrat or no party preference and you somehow ended up on the wrong ballot because they didn't process your registration properly, they would white it out. They would count your ballot without the presidential nominee. So tell me how we are going with the will of the voter in these instances. All that we are saying is that it should be easy to go cast a ballot. You should be able to go cast a ballot for the candidate that you want, and that should be honored. That's democracy. That's basic democracy. So, all that we're fighting for is for people to pay attention. We were able to turn around some of these votes by people going and watching at their polls, watching the counts, watching the poll workers. We were able to make a serious difference. And if you continue to do that, watch so carefully. And hopefully we can make it so the intent of the voter is actually honored in the future. Thank you.
First is if they ask you for your vote in November, say, please just count my vote first from the primary, and then we can discuss November. But don't worry about Donald Trump. But just build a wall around him and make him pay for it. But tomorrow or go to gregpalace.com. There's 10 ways that they can steal your vote. You saw one cross-check. This is no joke. I'm hoping that by November we might at least pretend to be a democracy. And that should be the demand that we need. And hopefully Bernie's political moment will become a permanent political movement, okay? Okay, because one thing I did find, I mean, years ago I investigated the Antichrist, or you may know him as the Dr. Reverend Pat Robertson. And I snuck into his place with my hidden cameras and I said to him, Reverend Pat, tell me, you said that God told you to run for president. With a campaign manager like that, how come you lost? And he said, the Lord didn't tell me to win, he told me to run. And he said, now listen. Then he gave advice that I want Bernie to take from the mouth of the Antichrist himself. He said, I took that presidential campaign list of 3 million names and I turned it into the Christian coalition. And no one takes a piss in the Republican Party without the approval of the evangelical brown shirts, okay? Now what Bernie needs is he's got a hell of a list. And hopefully, beyond politics, we will now have a permanent unchristian coalition. Maybe we can come up with a better name. Okay. That's a permanent, not a moment. Forget the platform fights. I mean, does anyone remember what the 2012 minimum wage party platform meant? Forget it. That's nothing. So what I want you to do is learn how to protect your vote, not Hillary's vote, your vote. Not Bernie's vote, not anyone's vote, okay? Because we have an apartheid voting system in America, and we're gonna learn about it, and I want you now to watch a 90-second preview of the film tomorrow where we enlist in our efforts some stoner musician with pigtails. Can you play the film?
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Why are these such secret lists? You get 5 years in the slammer.
This is voter suppression, pure and simple.
And approve the Keystone Pipeline.
This is destruction in progress.
Also made a personal profit of more than $5 billion last year.
Paulson sat in those rooms and didn't tell those poor schmucks that they were buying crap.
And they are cooking the ballot boxes on Election Day.
That's not about black and white, that's about right and wrong.
And you would think that Jim Crow rose from the dead.
It's this new thing we do. People call into the show. They're you. It's called Freedom of Speech Friday. You can call in and you can tell your story. For 5 minutes is your show. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Blog Talk Radio, YouTube, and Facebook, all simultaneously. 5 platforms is your show. So do that. That's what we need. We need people to stand up and speak out. I'm Tim Black. Thank you for having me, and I hope to see you.
Keep up the fight. Keep up the fight for people's votes. Listen to Tim. Read Greg's books. Watch his movie. Keep paying attention. Follow me at Kite and Twitter, and check out our documentary Uncounted on TYT. Thank you.
We're in the middle of something serious, all right? This is a generational change. This is not a moment. This is a fork in the road, all right? This is something serious. This is dark versus light. This is evil versus good. This is Mel Gibson now versus 1993 Mel Gibson, all right? And a lot of us are too dumb, medicated, or blissfully uneducated to even realize it. We're gonna drop down and drag out bloody war for the cultural hegemony, the cultural soul of our society. And just like a fishbowl, we're just like a fishbowl. If they just give us enough food and a little plastic treasure chest or a chest of plastic treasures, we will never even question that all of our thought and all of our soul takes place inside of a 2-foot bowl. All right? There is so much thought and so much news and information outside of that we need to open our eyes to. We have an incredible potential to change it around, all right? Because this unfettered, unregulated, capitalist domination of the mental sphere, the natural here and now, it's a desecration, it's a defecation, it's an extraction on anything and everything that matters to your average human being. And the question now is whether we'll put our differences aside long enough to tell the now titans of at the top themselves with a rusty cracking fight. Thank you guys. They have more amazing programming that's about to start. If you want to protest, keep protesting, keep fighting.
I'm now responsible for taking back my power and refuse to aid and abet someone who is a warmongering, corporatist shill. This media that pretends, these pseudo-journalists, and that's what they are, Rachel Maddow with her "The Republicans Are Bad" show. Did you know the Republicans are bad? Did you know? Did you know the Republicans are bad? The Republicans are bad. They're really, really bad. It's the Republicans. Jesus Christ, enough, Rachel. God, we know they suck. So do the Democrats. So do the Democrats. Enough.
Yes!
We're not going to do that anymore. We are not going to be dictated by false corporate media lies and talk about our reality in the confines of their left versus right, Republican versus Democrat, good cop versus bad cop. That's done. That's done. No.
Bernie Blackout News here in Philadelphia covering the convention. Bernie Sanders is still widely represented around the city. Bernie Sanders paraphernalia is everywhere. Cities this has been here all season, obviously. There's no Hillary signs. There are no bumper stickers for Hillary. There is no support for her. So what we're seeing is...
we did see that one sign the airplane was flying by. It said Hillary. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. It's true. InfoWars was flying a Hillary for prison plane drag by. That was funny. But what you're seeing is the mass media has pretended it's like a different level of interest. But really it's a mass movement for Bernie and crickets for her. They're flying people into the convention. Free tickets if you want to go see her talk on Thursday night. So last night we met a volunteer for the Bernie campaign who was working at the convention, and she said she experienced harassment by the Hillary people. They weren't allowed on the floor. They were confiscating Bernie signs. They were telling people to be quiet. People were actually, every time Hillary Clinton's name was mentioned, there was booing on the floor of the convention. So as this is a funny indicator story, that's hilarious, right? Bernie is giving it the old college try for party unity. God bless him.
We need to have voting machines. We can see the code, open source. We can see what's going on, and that's if we won't go back to paper ballots. But at the very least, we need to see the goddamn code. That's if we won't go back to paper ballots. But at the very least, we need to see the goddamn code. We need to know what's going on in those machines.
Really a huge disillusion is seeing the Democratic Party, seeing the establishment within the Democratic Party at the state level, at the county level, and at the national level, and how it's really not about the people, how it's really not about the issues, and how it's really about themselves and about them advancing their own careers. And that is just disgusting.